I'm Dr. Phil Kieran.
And I'm Dr. Pixie McKenna. What can we do?
We'll be travelling around the country with our pop-up clinic and seeing patients with all sorts of health worries.
As far as
That's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Plus, we'll be bringing you advice on the latest medical developments,
Talk to me about Bioidentical HRT.
so you know what you need to know to stay healthy.
This week in the clinic, Phil hears some refreshing honesty.
Well, I did something a bit stupid.
Right.
Pixie talks menopause,
HRT is not the big baddie that we all thought it was going to be.
and Pixie and Phil give sound advice to music-loving teenagers.
Do you know what that word is that you can't listen when you're older? It's you're deaf.
The pop-up clinic is at Limerick Racecourse for the city's classic car show. Sean Mooney, a regular gym goer, has come to see Phil with a troublesome shoulder pain that's progressively getting worse.
But I've had this injury 20 years on and off.
20 years?
20 years on and off.
It's a very long time.
And as I get older, it's getting worse, yeah.
Where do you get the pain?
It's directly, I can actually pinpoint it right here at the back of the shoulder.
Right in the back of the
Right
shoulder?
Back, yeah, there.
And does it stop you doing anything?
It's interfering with my sleep. It would
Right,
wake me up at
okay,
night,
so
yeah.
it would wake you
It
from
would
sleep,
wake me, oh
would it?
yes, yes. Do you know what I mean? You'd wake up and you'd be tired, you'd be irritable, the whole lot. So it has a, you know, it's not only your shoulder, it affects your head as well during the day, you know? Absolutely.
Sean is a self-employed upholsterer and operates his business from a workshop in his home.
The injury has a serious impact on my business in relation to lifting the heavy chairs. Obviously, I have to continue to do it because it's my livelihood, and that aggravates the injury as well. But again, as I get older, I'm finding it more and more difficult. If I was laid up for any length of time, I can't stay easy. I'm an active person, you know. If I was told I couldn't go to the gym, I'd go crazy. It's quite heavy, and as you can see, it makes you up weight, but it does the job. Now, I used to use that regularly after I'd go jogging, but I can't now because it aggravates my injury. I've trained all my life. I used to train with guys who were a lot heavier than me, and I think that contributed a lot to the injury. I was very competitive, and I'm paying the price now.
And have you ever been to see a shoulder specialist about it?
Yeah, I've got the laser treatment, I've got physio, I've done everything that I thought I could do.
We won't know till we get a bit of a closer look, so can I get you to follow me through
Yeah,
here,
no
Sean, and
problem.
we'll take a look. And do you mind me asking, Sean, you look quite fit, and what age are you?
62.
62?
Yeah.
Looking surprised, better shape than I am. Do you mind if I get you to take the top off for me? Just get you to just rest the hands down by the side there, that's fine. Just relax the muscles. Just have a look at the shoulders. Now, push against my hand. Is that sore?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Can you grab a hold of my hands, my fingers? Crush them. Tight as you can. Really, really, really squeeze. Both hands now, as tight as you can. And don't let me pull them out, okay?
Okay.
That's fine, okay. Can you put the hand behind your back like that for me?
My left hand,
Yeah. Can you?
it's very difficult.
Okay. That's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Can you put the left hand behind the head?
Yeah. No, it's hurting
No,
me now.
it's sore there,
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. There's definitely a weakness in your rotator cuff muscles.
Yeah.
I think we need to clarify exactly what it is going on here.
Okay.
So the next step, I think, is scan and then getting you seen by a specialist.
Great.
At the Waterford Country Fair, 10-year-old Tommy and his aunt Joanne have come to see Pixie about his occasional headaches.
How can I help you?
With the last couple of years or that, I've been getting some migraines and headaches, and
Okay.
they're very sore.
Yeah.
Builders just banging off my head and stones.
Builders banging off your head and stones. That's
Yeah.
a great description. And what about the bright lights? Would they bother you
No,
when you have a
not at all,
headache?
no.
Okay.
No.
Do you do a lot of computer games, or do you watch?
No, I watch telly
So how much time would you be watching telly for during a day?
from when I get up. I'd watch it till I go to school. Then when I come home from school, then I'd go to my friend's house for a while. Then I'd come back and watch telly till I go to bed.
I hope your teacher isn't listening. Your teacher, where's the time for homework? Are you good at drinking water? What do you like to drink?
Juice.
Juice, okay.
Yeah.
Would you drink a lot of juice?
Yeah.
Small amounts of juice are fine, but water really is the healthy and cheap alternative for quenching thirst and preventing headaches, with 0 calories or sugars that can damage young teeth.
It doesn't sound to me like you have migraine, okay?
Yeah.
Because migraine has the sort of typical symptoms.
All right.
I'd love if you did something for me.
What?
If you maybe swapped out some of those juice drinks
Yeah.
for the next few weeks
Yeah.
with just like ordinary boring water.
Okay, yeah.
It'd be good, it'd be good for you. And absolutely 100% you need at least 45 minutes and ideally 1 hour and a half before you go to bed without any screen time. It's like I'm asking you to saw your leg off.
You
Okay.
basically are.
All right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah? Sorted? Really nice to meet you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks. Thanks, Pixie.
I actually felt like as if I was going to go mad. My head felt like it was going to burst.
Nobody could actually tell you what it's like. You know, that it's, you think you're unwell.
Every woman, myself included, at some stage in their lives will go through the menopause. While the average age is 51, symptoms can start as early as the 40s and go on for between 5 and 8 years.
I had major anxiety.
I have zero interest in sex. I'd rather be knitting, you know, and I don't even knit.
At the moment, there are an average 250,000 women in this country going through the menopause. That's the equivalent of the entire population of County Galway.
The menopause occurs when the menstrual cycle in a woman's life comes to an end. Symptoms include loss of libido, weight gain, hot flushes, and anxiety. Pixie meets a range of experts to ask, what can women do to combat these symptoms, and how should you best prepare for and manage your menopause?
It's looking at this as a new dietary chapter. So maybe when we wanted to have babies, we had a certain dietary regime. When we wanted to be slim and trim in our 20s, we had a certain dietary regime. And this is like a new chapter for us.
Absolutely. Some of us will need about 200 to 400 less calories postmenopausally. Now, that's actually very difficult.
That's like, so 4 slices of bread, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, our bone health is really particularly important, as is our heart health around this age. And so nutrients like omega-3, which you'll find in oily fish, tuna, salmon, sardines, things like that, is absolutely critical. So not just for the heart, but also for the brain, the cognitive function, and for the joints, the lubrication of the joints. As one of the things that we see postmenopausally is sarcopenia, the loss of muscle. If we want to keep our muscle mass, we have to be as active as we can. And that's a combination of strength exercise for, you know, the muscle protection, but also some cardio fat-burning exercise.
I would go up the top of the stairs to do something, and next thing I am going, what the hell am I doing up here? Okay.
Standing in the queue in the credit union, you know, and this anxiety in myself, you know, just standing for no reason at all.
Herbal remedy is an increasingly popular treatment of menopausal symptoms. Galway doctor Delish Clare is a GP and a herbalist.
So Delish, like me, you're a traditional doctor, you're a GP, but actually for you, this is kind of your formulary here, isn't it? This is
a pharmacy or a dispensary, and somebody comes to me with the menopause, which might have a whole range of symptoms. In the doctor's bag, we just have the HRT. And possibly something for anxiety or depression, but very non-specific. In my herb bag, I have a whole series of actions because the menopause causes so many different problems, individual for every individual woman. So I would have digestive herbs, nervine herbs, immune herbs, muscle relaxant herbs, and the last one I would add in is the specific hormone herbs. Okay. So I'm talking dandelion, chicory, verbena, astragalus, and we'll see all these behind us. These are the evening primrose oil. It can be used as a supplement. So herbal medicine is multi-constitutional, multi-action, and personalised medicine.
It wasn't like a hot sweat, it was like a hot shower from the inside. It was like scorching water all through you.
I went to my doctor, who immediately said HRT could do it for you.
Dr. Pixie McKenna and Dr. Phil Kieran are travelling the country in their pop-up clinic, meeting people with all sorts of health worries.
Can you put the left hand behind the head?
Yeah. That's hard.
No.
Earlier, 62-year-old Sean Mooney came to see Phil about his painful shoulder injury. Phil has referred him to a shoulder specialist, Ruth Delaney, at the Sports Surgery Clinic, who has arranged an MRI.
Nice and still, Sean. Are you okay there?
Yeah.
The issue in your shoulder and what's causing the pain and the weakness is that your rotator cuff is torn, okay?
Yeah.
Where the tendon is kind of pulled back off the bone here. So that's this tendon here that we're looking at, and you should see a nice smooth black line all the way to where the tendon attaches. You should see just healthy tendon. It's a pretty big tear of the rotator cuff that we're seeing there. The two muscles that are attached to the torn tendons, you see how they're just not as full as these healthy muscles here. This kind of white, which is basically fatty infiltration. So that tells me the tear's been there for a while. You're still compensating quite well functionally in terms of what you're able to do. Some people with a scan that looks like that, they wouldn't be able to raise their arm at all. They'd be sort of stuck like this.
Well, purposely, I make it my business to try and keep it active. I'm very conscious of it. So
and I think that's why you're still functionally so good. The solution that I would lean towards for you would be to fix your rotator cuff.
Okay.
What that involves is a keyhole surgery, typically. We use these anchors in the bone and heavy stitches or even kind of a tape to basically reattach the tendon back to the bone. You're talking about 6 months post-op for recovery to take into consideration in terms of your work and all of that.
Yeah, that would be, if I stop working, the lights are off, food is gone.
I hear you.
Yeah.
The problem might be that I don't know if this is going to be fixable in a couple of years.
I get you, yeah. At the moment it is.
At the moment it appears to be fixable, or at least fixable with the graft.
Okay.
So it's a case of weighing up, what's realistic for you to do now. The downside being if we were to wait too long, we mightn't have as good a chance of getting you a good recovery.
Yeah.
So it's a slow recovery.
Yeah. I was looking for a magic wand.
This is a tough decision for Sean. If he doesn't work, he doesn't earn. Because of his age, if he leaves the operation too long, his shoulder may not be fixable.
I couldn't make my mind up. I'd have definitely to sleep on it and think about it, the cost, the length of time it would take to recover and so on. 6 months is a long, long time. What would I do? I'd go crazy.
All parents fret about the amount of time their teenage son or daughter spend looking at their smartphone. Now, Phil and Pixie have something else for parents to worry about.
For teenagers all over the country, these have become a permanent fixture. The World Health Organization found that nearly half of all teenagers are exposed to unsafe levels of sound, either by going to concerts or listening to music on their smartphones.
Hearing loss can have potentially devastating effects on mental and physical health. Not only that, it can affect future employment and education. So we want to find out whether these guys have any idea that their love of music might be damaging their health.
How much of the day would you spend listening to music?
2 hours.
Would you do 2 hours non-stop?
At the start and at the end, like going to school and coming home from school.
Okay. Yeah. And how loud would it be?
Well, the thing is, it's really loud because I used to have it at mid-volume, but I think I actually noticed that my ears have gotten, I need to turn it up more. So now, like, max volume.
Max volume?
Max volume for 2 hours a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And who else is on the maximum setting? Who else cranks it up?
Yeah, normally as loud as it goes.
You all high volume?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a full house, yeah.
It would worry me that, like, I wouldn't be able to listen, like, when I'm older.
Do you know what that word is, that you can't listen when you're older? That you're deaf? Is that the consequence that you're thinking of?
Well,
because that's the reality.
Up there.
So if it's right up to max volume, it's 100 plus decibels, which is the same as a jet engine. Now you wouldn't stand
I'd never imagine,
in the airport, would you? For an hour.
Like you see those people wearing the massive
yeah.
That's why.
And you definitely wouldn't get jet engines and put them either side of your head.
To minimise the risk of hearing loss when using earphones, follow the 60-60 rule. That's listening for no longer than 60 minutes at no more than 60% of maximum volume.
But if music is, what floats your boat and it's your passion, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to lose the music because you won't be able to hear it properly. and there's no going back. Hearing aids we're looking at. It's really depressing, isn't
it? You don't know when you're going to break into a hot sweat.
I was around 42.
I was around 44.
And I thought I had the flu.
You don't even think. You just say, oh, heating's broken. Rang the plumber. Plumber came round, you know, probably when I wasn't there, when I was at work, the plumber comes round. So it probably cost me €50 to be told there was nothing wrong with the heating. It wasn't coming on in the middle of the night.
Over 250,000 women in Ireland are currently experiencing the menopause. There are a range of different symptoms and different treatments. Hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, has had some bad press in the past. Pixie has come to talk to Dr. Shirley McQuaid of Well Woman Ireland to hear more.
So about 2002, 2003, there were a couple of study reports released which damned HRT and, you know, caused huge problems, and lots of women just stopped their HRT and they had huge amounts of symptoms and problems. And so since then there have been several studies done and a reanalysis of the reports from 2002 and 2003. And HRT is not the big baddie that we all thought it was going to be. And so now what I'm seeing, women coming back in, we're seeing more women and prescribing more HRT over the last 2 or 3 years than we had done before.
If I was coming into you saying I want to take HRT, but I'm worried about breast cancer,
Sure.
What's your sort of take on that, and what's your advice to the patient?
For the average woman who doesn't have a family history or a personal history of breast cancer, the risk of breast cancer with HRT, increased risk, is tiny. They would be much better off to reduce their alcohol levels, do some exercise most days of the week, and maintain a normal body mass index. So weight has a much greater increased risk of breast cancer than being on HRT does.
The more advanced form of HRT is bioidentical hormones, a bespoke HRT designed for the individual. Dr. Patrick McGovern is an advocate.
So talk to me about bioidentical HRT.
You'll get some people who just don't do well on conventional HRT. The bioidentical hormone, the idea is that it will have really good biological effects in the body and that it'll be a biosimilar, that it won't be like trying to open my car with your car key.
Okay.
Bioidentical HRT is prescribed and calculated following a blood test and consultation. Treatments are made up to mirror the same chemical structure as the hormones that are produced in the body.
So you're like the cordon bleu cook, you put it all together.
Try to put it all together, yeah, and try to look at it. Much more is gained by putting lots of bits together than doing a whole lot of one thing. People will have as many probably postmenopausal years as reproductive years. You know, your brain, your mobility and your vision are the three things people need as you go on, and certainly brain and mobility I think are helped by bioidentical skills. Look at the number of people whose brain fog lifts for a start.
Yeah.
And that's a great boon.
What I found the best source of release was exercise.
I certainly started to watch my diet. I certainly started to take more exercise. And yes, I became conscious of trying to move my joints.
I have friends who are older than me, you know, in their 60s, and they always look more settled and more happy in themselves, and you know, so I kind of feel like I'm coming into that.
I started off today thinking all of our experts would give conflicting advice, but actually what they're all saying is menopause is a spectrum and it should be treated holistically. If something doesn't work for you, then look for something else. And I think what's really important is we need to remember that most of us will live well into our 80s, so it shouldn't be seen as the end of something, but rather the start of something new.
At the Waterford Country Fair, Patricia Hartnett has come to the clinic to see Phil. She's had a run-in with a cotton bud and is worried she may have damaged her ear.
Well, I did something a bit stupid.
Right.
And there was kind of a stabbing pain.
Right, okay.
And I immediately took it straight out, as
Yeah.
you do. There was nothing. Okay, this is a bit gross and disgusting.
No.
But there was nothing on the tip. There was no blood. There was
No blood or anything
gunk.
like that, no?
Nothing. Not even any wax. That was Sunday last week, and I kind of felt a bit nauseous, a little bit dizzy, and then I thought, okay, right, you're changing jobs, so maybe it's stress.
Okay.
So, you know, Okay,
A lot going on, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in my life. So I was like, okay, grand. Ignore it. It's going to go away. Yeah, it didn't. And I'm going on holidays in, I'm not travelling on airplane, it's a ferry boat, thank God.
Yeah.
But I'm going to England in about 2 weeks.
In about 2 weeks. So you'd like to have it settled by then?
Yeah, just to know if I've done something.
Something
like,
bad?
Yeah, like my hearing is fine.
Good.
It's just that there's this kind of still feeling of stiffness.
Okay.
And it's kind of feeling all the way down to here.
Down the back of the neck there.
And like a really bad draft.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's volume or something in the ear.
Will we take a look and see what's going on? Is that all right?
Like that.
In the left ear first, if that's all right. And would you use tips to clear the ear as much?
No, typically once every 2 or 3 months, just to gauge, do I have a wax problem?
Yeah. And have you ever heard the phrase, you should never put anything smaller than your elbow in your ear?
Yes, loads of times.
It's true.
I know.
With a sharp stabbing pain, what I would worry about is, was there a sharp, hard bit of wax that you've pushed in and burst your eardrum?
Okay.
And you haven't. Eardrum is absolutely intact.
Great,
okay?
lovely.
There is a tiny little scrape
Okay.
along one side of your ear canal. That's why it was sore, that's why it still feels a bit sore, and it should be perfect by 2 weeks when you go away on holidays.
Thank
okay?
you very, very much.
Nothing to worry about, but a lesson learned. Don't put anything smaller than your elbow into your ear.
Okay, I promise.
Okay?
Yeah,
all right.
Great.
Thanks
you very
a million
much.
for chatting to us, Patricia.
My mind at ease. Just feel a lot better now.
Good.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
62-year-old Sean Mooney has been working and training through his shoulder injury for the past 20 years. He's been told an operation is necessary to fix his problem. As a self-employed upholsterer, he can ill afford the 6 months off post-operation. But if he doesn't have the operation now, his shoulder may be irreparable. Phil checks in to hear his decision.
Tell me, what's been going on since I last talked to you?
Well, I've gone through all the paperwork, I've read all the ups and downs, and, you know, for starters, it's a 6-month recovery, 6 to 12 months, which is a long, long time before you get full mobility back. And the first 6 to 8 weeks, you're totally immobilised. There's no driving, there's no nothing, you'll be in a sling.
Right.
So that would be quite difficult.
And you work with your hands, don't you,
Yes,
Sean?
yeah, absolutely.
So 6 to 8 weeks of, I presume if the arm's in a sling, you can't work?
No work, no driving, no work, just stop. Just bankrupt me totally.
Yeah.
And it's just, to take that risk for an injury that I'm living with at the moment, I wouldn't be prepared to do.
Like I said, most 62-year-olds are not as fit and strong as yourself, so maybe when retirement does come around, it may be in a position to look at it at that stage.
That's, I was thinking that way, down them lines, yeah. But look, at the end of the day, at least I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know exactly what's wrong with it. This is going on 20 years on and on. So now I know exactly what's wrong with it.
Well, thanks a million for talking to me about it, Sean.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck with it anyway. And I'm glad you got an answer.
Well, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Bill.